the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking. Take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everyone. I got everything on here. So I'll straighten this out a little bit here. It's just a little crazy right now. My wife is making a wonderful Christmas dinner, and the alarms went off. The fire alarm, but everything is good. Everything is good. Okay, so we are right now. So again, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you got everything you wanted. I hope you're with your families and you're spreading lots of love. Okay, and that's happening right now. Let me lower the music a little bit. I wanted to actually do my show early this week. We went away last weekend to see our grandchildren, and the majority of them were actually in the Nutcracker Ballet. We had a wonderful time. But when I came back, I had a bad, what turned out to be a bad infection on my left leg. It swelled up, got all red. The doctor wanted to make sure it wasn't a blood clot, and we had to put in an order to have it examined, and there was complications on the way it was written, and it should have happened Tuesday. It didn't happen till about Thursday. And so it was a crazy week. And with Christmas and with the pain in my leg and keeping it up and elevated. So it's better now, thank you. And I feel a lot better that it's not a blood clot, because it could have been other complications. But I still wanted to do a show. And it'll be repeated, in case you're enjoying Christmas dinner with your family. And that's wonderful. And, I just wanted to, go on and do a fast little show. I don't want to be that long tonight. But one thing that came in mind is that uh, when we were heading home, taking a lift to the airport, was a young man, and he talked about he wants to purchase the house. So of course, I did my spiel, and we had like a long conversation. And there are so many questions that young people or first-time homebuyers in general have, and I know what I have to do is to break it down into smaller parts. It's hard to do everything within a half hour, and people's attention span gets smaller, and it's just a lot of information. So I need to break it down into smaller parts because some things seem like very, very basic, but they're not very basic because a lot of people, but not very basic because um, people need more information on it. Let's put it that way. And that's what I want to do this coming year is to break down the podcast into maybe about 3 different items that we will cover and go into detail on each of them because there's a lot involved. And even he was saying, "Oh, there's so much into buying a house. I'm scared," and and he wasn't being sarcastic. He was nervous about it. Everything to be, it has to be done. So, excuse me. So, I want to make sure that I share the steps with my audience and break it down as simple as possible. Um, if you've been watching on my podcast, I keep on bringing about the importance of being, I'm going on to another topic, but the importance of being vaccinated. And you see what's happening now, all right? With some people still not being vaccinated, and some people, if they are vaccinated and they catch the Omicron virus, they seem to be okay. But the ones who haven't, they're going to the hospital and they have more issues. And and now we see again a delay in going forward. So now, for instance, in New York City, the Rockettes are canceled. A couple Broadway shows postponed. They're going to wait another 2 weeks before they open up. All right, and other issues are coming about. And I always say, in order for us to keep on going strong with the economy, is to get this virus under control. So again, and it's been reiterated so many times, that get the virus, and then by chance, if you still get it, it won't be as severe that you go into the hospital on inhaler, and worse things do not happen. All right, so we have to get this under control. My gut feeling is that COVID-19 is going to be part of our lives now, and we're probably getting a yearly booster shot on it, the same way you do with the flu. It's just going to be part of reality. But again, it's so important to get that vaccination and the booster. Okay, so that's enough preaching right now. Let's see what we're going to talk about today. Let's show my little preview. Okay. All right. And to go back, I go back to this Lyft driver, um, and he was about, I think, 28, 29 years old. And he had so many questions and more concerns, about, purchasing a home. And we're going to talk today about how a house becomes a home. But he was so nervous about everything. And I said, uh, the biggest hurdle you have to get over, and I tell this to all my clients, and it takes them a while finally to do it, is to get pre-qualified. And do not wait until you find that house. Okay, it doesn't work that way. You have to get that pre-qualification now. Why? Uh, because you might find that house. You go to the mortgage loan officer, and you find out you might need a couple of months before you could buy it. It's out, or perhaps it's out of your price range. All right. Um, so it's best to find it out first. First of all, if right now, if you could be pre-qualified, and if you can't, most of the times the loan officers will give you steps on how to quickly raise your credit score. And again, it's not any underhanded type thing. It's like saying, pay this line of credit down by this amount, okay? And if you have extra cash, where to put it towards these debit lines, okay? So it's not like you know, about 10 years ago, there was people who were offering credit repair and offering new social security numbers. No, you don't want that. You want to keep your social security number because you've been building up money for your retirement, okay? So you don't want to change that. That's the most stupid thing I ever saw, all right? And don't fall for any type of scam like that where you will change your social security number, okay? So they would tell you how to quickly raise it by by telling how much you should be giving to different um, credit lines, and if you could throw in a little bit more cash, and by how much and what to do, and they'll get you there quickly. All right. But then again, too, they want to find out what your price range is. Some people saying, I'm looking for a $400,000 house, but they only could afford 250. Find that out now. That's most important, because this way you avoid you'll see a house, you're excited about it, and all of a sudden you find out it's out of your price range, and now depression hits in. Okay, and you don't want that. Find it out now. And if you find out you need to, if you're in the $250,000 range, but you want that $400,000 house, well, there may be ways you could do it. You may have to pay down more debt, okay, to get it. Or if you're expecting a raise in the future, that will be helpful. So it's best to sit down with the mortgage loan officer and strategize on that. Please don't hold it off. Please don't say, let me look at some homes first and then I'll go. No, it doesn't work that way. The only person that works well, if you know without a question, what your credit score is, and you know what amount of income you have to make in order to purchase a certain home, in a certain price range. All right, but that's very rare. Okay, even people who are in the upper middle income ranges or high income ranges, they need to do it because they might have a lot of outstanding debt. They might have a nice fancy car, that they have a big car payment on it. So it's good for everybody. Even if you say, hey, I'm making $200,000 a year, whatever. But people who make a lot of money, some of these people have a lot of nice things that have been purchased with credit lines. So get that pre-qualification as soon as possible. Okay, so I told him that's the biggest hurdle. The other thing I have to say with home ownership is that I remember this one show. It was on a couple of years ago. I think it was called Suburbatopia. And anyway, this single father and his daughter, they moved from the city and buy a house in the suburbs. And one day the daughter goes in the shower, there's no water, and she yells out to the father, "Call the super, call the super." And the father goes, "I think I'm the super now." And that's the thing. That's the big difference. You know, when there's something wrong with the house, you can't give a call into the landlord or to the super or to the property management company. You're the super. You're the one that's making the repairs. Okay, so that's part of the responsibility of being a homeowner, is that you make those repairs on your own. All right. So there's some people who don't want that in their life. Not everybody is meant to be a homeowner. Some people say, I just like paying my rent. I don't want to have to worry about broken pipes or broken AC units. I'll just pay my rent. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. But there's a lot of issue. There's a lot of opportunities when you become a homeowner. Okay. And one of it's a sense of accomplishment. An accomplishment meaning that you've got your finances together. You're most likely established within a career. All right. Even if you're self-employed, if you have been pre-qualified for a house, you most likely have 2 years of income statements that show that you have that income and it's coming in and you're successful. Okay. But even if you are a paid employee, that acceptance, because you're giving in 2 years tax returns, is saying that you've reached this pinnacle. You have a steady job, you have income coming in, and now you can purchase a home. And it's the biggest purchase in your lifetime. Okay. Though some cars are very, very expensive right now, but most likely you're not going to need to move in home for about 70, 80,000. Still have to go much higher. Okay. So there's a big sense of accomplishment when you do this. What I'm going to show you now, it's a graphic, and it's a feel-good graphic. And again, as I stated earlier, I want to narrow into certain points, and for you to capture that and learn from it, and then watch me the following week and learn some more. Okay, but I'm going to put the text, and here I am to the side. And now I'm going to, when a house becomes a home. There was a song like that. Okay. So the biggest thing, as I just said, owning your home is an accomplishment worth celebrating. You put in a lot of work to achieve the dream of home ownership. And whether it's your first home or your fifth, congratulations are in order for this milestone, I want to say, event. You've earned it. And then there's no place like home. Owning your own home offers not only safety and security, but also a comfortable place where you can simply relax, unwind after a long day. Sometimes that's just what we need to feel recharged and truly content. All right. And look at number 3. You can find more space to meet your needs. I'll move this down a little bit here. Whether you want more room by your changing lifestyle, think working from home, which has become very, very big in the last year and a half to 2 years. Dedicated space for a hobby. If you decide you want to, like Mr. G, use a room for office and doing podcasting and live streaming, you have that. Or a personal gym, that's next in order. Or you simply prefer to have a large backyard for entertaining, you can invest in a home that truly works for your evolving needs. All right. So that's a good thing. That's a nice thing. You have that freedom to make the changes that you want. You can do that in an apartment too, but if you were going to, for instance, take down a wall, to open up a space, you cannot do that. Okay, with a rental, you have to, you know, I mean, you might be able to put a different color paint up with the permission of the owner, and most times when you leave, you have to bring it back to white. If you painted with a really dark color, you have to bring it back to white. You have control over renovations, updates, and your style. Looking to try one of those decorative wall treatments you saw on Pinterest? Tired of paying an additional pet deposit for your apartment building? Maybe you want to create an entire in-home yoga studio. You can do all of these things in your own home, okay? This will not be needed to be okayed by the property management, by the landlord. You could do what you wish. So these are the good things about purchasing a home. And I think the biggest thing is the freedom of doing what you want to your home. Some landlords, when I worked back in Brooklyn with doing rentals, they would tell you not to put up so many paintings, or if you put up paintings, make sure when you leave you covered up all the holes. You can really, let's say there was a horrible looking carpet in the living room, you can't just lift it up. You would have to speak to the landlord. But when you own your own home, you could make the changes you want. Now, keep in mind, if you're in a property owners association, a homeowners association, any big changes, especially with the exterior, like if you're adding a room, or a pool, you have to make sure, first of all, you have to make sure if it's okay with the HOA or the POA. They're either home ownerships or they're property owners associations. But then again, and you have to check with the city on what you could do as well. And most likely, you will have to get permits to do any big changes to your house. All right. So just wanted to throw that in there because, again, if you're in a homeowners association, there's this one part where you have to get their agreement. And a lot of times what they don't want to do, and this is, again, talking about an HOA, is change the decorum of the area or the let me see, the uniformity of it. Okay. They don't want one house to be all of a sudden different from the others. That's a possibility. Okay. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm not saying that won't happen, but that's something that would have to be considered. But otherwise, if you're outside the homeowners association, you will just have to check with the city on what you could do. All right. And then you have to get the permits to do it. Okay. Just to keep everything, legal and right. But, and then again, doing those extra steps, most likely you'll be able to do it. But once you have an apartment that you're renting, very, very little on any type of change. Like I said, painting, maybe, putting down a carpet, not a, well, I guess it would be a rug. Yeah, a carpet would be wall to wall, but then everything has to be okay. Well, you have to present it to the landlord to see if they allow it. And again, if it's a major change, something that changed the appearance of the apartment, you just can't do. You can't knock down the wall. all right, and make one big space, like combining 2 bedrooms, whatever, okay? All right, so we're let's close this part out here. Again, I wanted to keep it kind of short. It's the holiday. Um, what I'm going to do now is show just a little video on we still need listings. Okay, so with the economy getting better, home prices are high. If you were thinking of selling, this is really a good time to do so. Okay, that was cute. I added the Santa Claus graphics. I thought that would be nice. All right, so I'm going to end with a video that I did. I actually put this video together after I wrote a little letter to the editor of the Daily Press. This was maybe about 6 years ago, and they did print it, and I'm pretty sure I think they printed it on Christmas Day. But I thought it needed a little background music to it and some graphics. So again, as I always say, it's the Christmas season, and not just for the Christmas season, but to keep Christmas alive all year round, we need to be kind to each other, okay? Whether someone disagrees with you via religion, via politics, we all need to get along to pull through all this stuff. And as I always say, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift is each other. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. We'll talk about predictions for 2022. All right? Merry Christmas again, and I'll see you next week. A Christmas Story, a movie that we see so many times during this joyous season, is about a young boy whose name is Ralphie and his Christmas wish to receive from Santa the official Red Ryder model air rifle. Ralphie receives a present, and after the Christmas turkey is devoured by the neighbor's dogs, his family enjoys a Christmas dinner in a Chinese restaurant, and Ralphie declares, "All is right with the world." I always enjoyed that saying and use it quite often when, at one brief moment in time, life is going well. I wonder how that moment can be spread indefinitely. In the Gospel story of the Good Samaritan, a person of law asks Jesus on how to receive eternal life. Jesus responds with his 2 commandments. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The person then asks, who is my neighbor? Jesus responds with the well-known parable of the Good Samaritan, the neighbor who helped a man who was robbed and beaten. The beauty of the story of the Good Samaritan is that neighbor has nothing to do with proximity, as in location or vicinity, or with whom we are acquainted. Nor does it have to do with sameness of religion or nationality. We become neighbors when we give aid and comfort to those who are destitute, lonely, or without hope. May we do likewise during this Christmas season and New Year.
For only then is all right with the world.